Hello, everyone, and welcome to King Me Rev's Hype Podcast, the show where we shine a spotlight on mental health through the stories and experiences of our guests. I'm your host, The Rev Dude, and today we're coming to you live from Riverside. I am here today to introduce my special guest, BioPro alumni and professional wrestling's resident handyman, Jake Gray.
What's up, guys? How are we doing?
Awesome. Thank you, Jake, for coming on, and I can't wait to have a great show with you.
I'm excited.
I've had a few of your BioPro like alumni brothers on the podcast so far. We had I Blackjack on Sunday night.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully he texted you because he came up with a good idea for a present for Drew when he was on the podcast with me, and he was going to text you.
No.
All right. Well, there you go. So I'm not spilling the beans because technically, unless you're paying for the early subscription for this, for the Revs Hype podcast, this actually won't be dropping until I think January 9th. Gotcha. So unless Drew is randomly checking out podcasts on Apple and pays $1 a month for my podcast, he's not gonna his Christmas is gonna get spoiled. But I Blackjack came up with the idea of doing the gag where you wrap a chair into with you wrap a chair with a present wrapping and give it to him, similar to like the John Cena meme. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's what he was saying you guys should do. So I told him I was going to tell you.
Well, so, I mean, we have our wrestling open. Well, by the time this probably comes out, it's definitely past. But we do have wrestling open this Thursday, and it is on Christmas.
Yes.
Probably expect something similar to that if I was to be a betting man.
Yeah, and for everyone, I mean, hopefully I'm actually going to be there myself doing the spotlight match announcing.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I'm very excited for that. I cannot wait. This time it's at the Ralph's Rock Diner, which is going to be a very interesting venue. I haven't been to a wrestling show at the Ralph's Rock Diner before, so.
Well, this is going to be definitely a unique wrestling show, to also be honest with you.
Yeah. I Blackjack was talking about the idea. There's no like real ring. It's going to be a different type of setup, and
absolutely, it's been fun to plan, and like that's one of the things that I definitely would say I've been enjoying doing more and more, especially since like this last year. And when it comes to wrestling, is the kind of figuring out logistics and like how the hell are we going to do this?
Right. I feel like that definitely comes with the territory, right?
Yeah.
Since there's no true dedicated space. There's always negotiating for space for wrestling in general. So, it seems to be an overlapping thing with no matter what promotion you go to, someone's having to figure out logistics somewhere. So
yeah.
It's a very interesting. I would say people like Drew especially are like almost unsung heroes in a way, because you don't really, like, the fans especially don't realize how much work that man has to put in just to get the show to go, right?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Absolutely insane. So yeah, I'm very excited for this Thursday. This podcast will actually technically drop tomorrow for anyone who is paying $1 a month to have us on Apple Podcasts. They can have it tomorrow. But for anybody else, they're not going to hear it for a couple of weeks, basically, because that's the rotation, right?
That makes sense.
Right. So the one just before you is I Blackjack, as I stated. We've talked to Drager, great guy.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Both of us really love Red Dead Redemption 2, so we were broing out on the Red RDR.
I've played it once. It's a good game, but I think Drager's probably a bigger fan than I am.
Yeah, I would assume so. And then the next episode after you is actually going to be Patrick Saint. So big boy coming on. We might end up doing that live this particular weekend. I'm not sure just yet, but for anybody, at least for the podcast's sake, you may be seeing us live at one of the Roots Awakening Kava bars maybe down in Worcester, Massachusetts, if we can figure out the logistics. Because once again, logistics can be a pain. So,
100%.
all right. So I've been following your grind, on Wrestling Open, Beyond Wrestling, everywhere else. You're putting in some serious work out there. So I really honestly appreciate your time today. The fact that you agreed to do this. Um, but let's kick it off with the first question. And this is something I've been asking the guys lately. You came up through BioPro, right? What does BioPro mean to you? And how has that training environment with both the coaches and the roster around you shaped the wrestler we see today?
Hmm. That's a pretty big question to start off with that with.
Right, I know. Right into the meat and the bones. I just harsh.
To me, I would say family. Like that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Family and community. I've made friends and people that I talk to every single day. They've given me a purpose. They've given me value. They've given me passion and motivation and drive. And it's just like everyone who is like has an interest in BioPro, everyone who's really put their time, put their effort into BioPro has like been incredible. Like our selection of coaches over time has been incredible. Thomas Santel is like I've never had a negative thing to say about him, and I've also never heard anyone say anything negative about the man. Um, he's so smart when it comes to professional wrestling, and he always pushes me, and he pushed me to get to the point that where I want to wrestle as much as possible. Where I'm like, hey coach, I hit 150 matches, and I'm only like a year and a half in. Like that what he has done for me has made me want to do stuff like that. And then of course we have Brian Malonis for a little bit of time. Malonis was awesome. Malonis different way of thinking just due to his style of wrestling and more how to present yourself and stuff. And Malonis is great about that. TJ and Doug, incredible coaches and incredible wrestlers, and I'm very happy to be able to share the ring with them. And then, of course, Ricky Shane Page, who joined the school this year. But Ricky, I would say, has been a major help, especially for me specifically. I don't think I could have gotten to the next level that I feel like I have been able to achieve this year if it wasn't for him. Because he especially is like he's on my ass. He's making sure that I'm going to be at the top of my game no matter what I'm doing or what it's exactly.
Yeah, and see, that's great. One of the reasons why that's always my first question is I've heard so many wonderful things about you from your fellow BioPro, alum. And then I just really love the positivity and the support that you guys have for each other, right? Um, a big thing about this podcast is not just wrestling, as much as I love wrestling, right? As much as you love wrestling, but the idea of showing people that everything has a nuance, right? So as much as maybe some casual person may watch this and think, oh, it's just a bunch of wrestlers being bros. Yeah, okay. There's nothing wrong with having support and structure around yourself. And it doesn't matter if you're doing it in a wrestling ring or if you're doing it in any other setting. The idea is that if you want to be successful in this world, it's much easier to do when you have a group supporting you.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. And I love the fact that the BioPro you guys are just so tight, right? You guys are just you're in there, you're together, and I've heard plenty of talks about the group chat, the group chat. So it's just highlighting positivities in the world because that's the kind of world I want to see, a positive world, right?
100%.
So it's great to hear, you feel like they're pushing you. Um, it's great to hear that you feel the way that your brethren feel about feeling supported and stuff. So you kind of said this already, and I love the fact that iBlackjack did this to me too because I had these questions and it felt like I almost was sharing my screen because he was always one step ahead of me, and I love it. So you said it, you've hit, and I had this written down. You've been incredibly active as like a rookie, hitting milestones 75 matches, over 100. You said over 150 in the last 2 years. And that's a crazy pace. When you look back at your debut or those early Wrestling Open episodes, what stands out to you now that you didn't notice at the time? what's been the biggest leap in your in-ring growth over the last year or so?
Confidence. It's the one I've been told the most that people have noticed as the more and more I wrestle, just the confidence. I was very nervous. I was very in my head a lot of the time early on, and I would say I'm very much not as much. Obviously, you're still going to get those before the match butterflies. You're going to still get those before the match flutters and worriness, but I would overall say that I've been more confident. I feel more like I know what I'm doing than I would say beforehand. I would definitely say that. I will say I have not watched back a lot of those early matches. I probably should go back and honestly watch them, but
There's there's plenty on YouTube at least. I've actually
yes,
been watching a lot of your matches back on YouTube over the last like 3 days. I watched a lot of your matches, a lot of iBlackjack's matches, um, and I just love, the crowd loves you, right? Obviously, you know that already, but just to say it out loud for anybody who's not paying attention, the crowd really loves you, man. They really get behind you. They really support you. They're just like, handyman, handyman, right? So when you say that word confidence, I can really I can really see that. I also feel like, and stop me if I'm wrong here, but anytime that you're introduced, I see a genuine sense of pride in your face. Is that a good assessment?
I would definitely say so. But for the longest time, when people ask me like what I wanted to do when it came to wrestling, I always just said, just want to get one match in. I just want to do it once. I want to be able to maybe hear my name from the ring announcer, hear the bell ring, hear the bell end the match. That's all I wanted. And the fact that I've been able to hear it and get to hear that sound and do it as much as I can, it does for me.
Right? Yeah, and I don't blame you, especially when you get so many talented people around you, like Lauren St. James, incredibly talented, and then the GOAT, Rich Palladino. I always have to throw it up to the GOAT.
One of the best of all time.
Literally. If anybody checks out my fan art that I made yesterday on my Instagram, check out my Rich Palladino fan art. It is fun. I don't want to spoil it too much, but and people are like, oh, what's the date? Today's Tuesday, December 23rd. Okay, so if you're like, this didn't drop for 3 weeks, Tuesday, December 23rd. Check out Monday, December 22nd, and check out the Rich Palladino because I mean, there are some extraordinarily talented announcers out there. Regardless of what promotion you're talking about, whether in New England or above. But I would honestly put Rich next to a Harvey Whippleman or
100%.
or Lillian Garcia. Like he is a hardworking. He's been going for like 30 years now. Like this, he's a Hall of Famer. Like, come on, it's Rich Palladino, right?
100%.
So one of the things and why I point that confidence out is, or I should say, the pride and joy in your face is when they say, especially whether it's Lauren or Rich, when they say to you like, when they announce you and they say that you are a graduate of the BioPro. Like I really see you kind of light up in the ring, like because before they had I can't remember what they used to say before they started saying professional residents professional wrestling's resident handyman. There was another thing for a while, but now they always say like that you are proudly from BioPro
Yeah,
and
proudly for representing.
right. And I don't know, man. I feel like when they start saying those words, I just get like a little extra glow from you, and it's like, all right, and once again, people could tell me I'm wrong, but that's what I see in your face. How proud you are of how hard you've been working, right? And this is something, me and I, you know, I Black was talking about, me and Jack were talking about. It's not the idea of like necessarily you deserve it, it's you earned it, right? You're the one in the ring working your butt off to, pretty much all week, let's be honest. All week, every week, for the past couple of years, you've been working your butt off. So you earn the right to be um, confident and you earn the right to have that pride in yourself.
100%.
The handyman gimmick obviously opens up a lot of fun prop and spot possibilities, like maybe fixing something mid-match, that kind of creativity. How much freedom do you think you get to play with that stuff on shows? And is there a particular spot or sequence you've done that popped the crowd?
Hmm. When it comes to freedom, it always depends on what exactly the company or the place I'm wrestling for is looking for. And a lot of times it's not always that. I would say, especially more recent, I've more leaned to the underdog, just kind of like the crowd, getting someone for the crowd to root behind to like fight back and get one up on the bad guy. Um, but there's one match I had. It was against Ricky Smokes at Live Pro Wrestling this year, which was one of my favorite matches of the year. Um, and I interrupt him. I come out. I start fixing the ropes, tightening them. I get all of them besides one corner. And as I'm trying to fix that finished corner, he comes up, starts talking trash. I turn away from him, do it again, turns me around, pushes me, and then we start wrestling. And then every time as we're wrestling, I keep on escaping to him, and I just try to go fix the corner. Like that's the whole match. Is I keep on going to fix the corner, and then finally I get him in that corner. I start doing the 10 punches. He escapes, and it said to me like being, "Oh, what the hell?" Finished tightening it. The crowd went crazy. One of my favorite like things like that I've got to do that is like, oh, this is the handyman. This is like kind of what the character can be. That's like my immediate go to. Like when it comes to like I'm thinking of like getting to be fixing stuff in the ring.
That's awesome. And as a quick shout out to Ricky Smokes, he has been incredibly kind to the King family. So I just want to make sure to say, Ricky, we love you, man. Um, the funny thing was the Taffeta Music Hall. There was that show, Bound for the Floor. It was, I think,
Yeah,
Bound for the Floor. That tournament, that technical style tournament that Drew put on, and he boldly stated it was for himself. He's like, "Listen, this is the kind of wrestling I
yeah,
want to
yep.
see." And I actually have a recording of that I've been wanting to put out there in the universe because I loved it. I loved the whole show. Right,
It was an awesome show.
it was a great show. But the funny thing was, is I film each show, and I was holding two cameras so I can get two different angles, and I had my watch on, and I get a text message from my daughter going, "Ricky's holding my stuffed dog so I can go to the bathroom." And my brain was just like, "What? Ricky Smokes is babysitting my daughter's stuffed dog so she can go to the bathroom?" Like my brain.
Yeah, I
So
could imagine.
my brain was just like, "Huh? How did that happen?" But see, but what you were saying was phenomenal. The idea that you were hyper focused on fixing the ring, and he comes in and does that whole spot. The last, well, not the last time I got to see you, but the last time I got to see you in singles competition was up EWA Main with Adam Booker, and you were against Zamora, and I thought that was a good one just because you did get to pull out the proverbial toolbox a little bit, and the as Simon Miller would say, you got to use the most devastating maneuver in all of sports
Roll up.
entertainment,
Yeah,
the surprise roll up, to get the victory that night over the Spotlight Zamora. So that was a great one. He got the cheap shot with the wrench afterwards, but it's all right. You got the W, so it's good.
that's
So
what all matters in the end. Yeah.
there you go. So that whole persona, you talked about a little bit on the Rainbow Rumble just a minute ago, and for anybody who hasn't seen it, go back and watch it. Um, how did that how did that evolve? Like, did you know how did the handyman come out of you, right, and become something that you were doing in the wrestling?
I just couldn't think of a good gimmick. And there was just one time I think we were fooling around. We had some doors. I think we need to get the hinges off. And like Drew was joking, he turned to me and said, "Yeah, well, the handyman over here do it." And then we started going on like just a tangent. Drew does a lot, but started going on a tangent about like a wrestler comes out with a toolbox, hits his opponents over the head with the toolbox, and like stabs him with screwdrivers. I was like, "Oh, this is dumb." Drew just moving around, but I got stuck in my head. I was like, you know what? This isn't bad. I like don't hate the idea of the handyman, and it got stuck in my head. And I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. I came up with an idea of what the gear would look like, ran it by my coaches, got some different ideas from them, and then I did a practice match with it, and like I just got a lot of like a lot of like good feedback on it. Um, Ended up getting my logo made, showing it to the coaches, being like, hey, this is what the logo's gonna look like, and just a lot of positive feedback. So that's how it was legitimately just a joke. But then I was like, you know what? Maybe this could work. I'll give it a shot. I'll see what other people think. A lot of people, I'll tell you right now, a lot of the bio guys are like, Handyman, he's gonna come out in overalls and toolbox and fix people. Like this is dumb. It's goofy. But like I very much was like Drager and Brett. I knew for a fact those guys were just gonna be wrestlers. Drager's gonna be classic like old school bad guy. Brett's gonna be babyface, big and strong. I was like, let's do something different. I guess let me be the first bio student that's has a character, has like something for me to really grasp on. And I think that's really why I gravitated and was like, oh, this just sounds like a fun idea, just because no one else had really been doing it in terms of bio yet.
Yeah, and it's funny you said goofy, and then I was like, I wish I was wearing my goofy wrestling for life shirt right now. Shout back out to Simon Miller because that stuff is so much fun, and it really can get. I mean, especially with your style, right? I've really seen it connect with the audience on such a regular basis. So it really does work, and it really some people might they might go back, me being an old guy like I am. Some people might go back to the early 90s where everything was like an overdone gimmick that Vince was on a tangent and he was
Yeah,
like making everything ridiculous. But I don't feel like you go like if you were overdoing it, like Vince would have made you like wear like neon colors or something. Like I feel like he would have like you would have had like a rubber um mallet or something. You would there would have been some kind of like sales pitch, you know what I mean? Like everybody buy the rubber mallet, right? So the styrofoam wrench or something, like it would have been too much. So as much as it is a little bit goofy and maybe it's a little difficult to explain to like parents or strangers or randos in the universe, um essentially what I'm trying to say is that I feel like you do it enough where it's not ridiculous, right? It's a believable handyman, right? Um, but that's just one man's opinion. All right, what people want to cry about it, they're going to do it anyways. This is America, right? Um, but your toolbox, right? So your toolbox, so to speak, you have that great drop kick. You do your wrenches, wrench. You hit a pretty damn good sling blade, if I might say so myself. And then you got the bulldog, the sliced bread, right? And I know you got plenty of other like tools in the toolbox, so
yeah.
to speak. Is there anything you got work cooking up maybe for 2026? Maybe some little
I got
divot?
something. I got we. I'm all I'm gonna say is we have some fun stuff planned. Maybe that's me and Cha Cha. Maybe that's me and someone else. Maybe that's me and Cha Cha and someone else, or even five other people. But all
Nice.
I'm gonna say is we got some fun stuff that we've been planning for a while that has gotten pushed back a little bit due to just like timing wise and what makes the most sense. And I definitely would say we have some fun stuff.
Perfect. See, I love it. So my next question, I love the fact that you use that we there. You've teamed with a bunch of different guys. Obviously, you're normally with Cha Cha, of course.
Yes.
Brett Metro, even some BioPro showcases with I Blackjack. How has working tag matches helped your development? And do you see yourself leaning more into tag team wrestling long term or focusing on singles?
Good question. I very much would say I think the plan, at least my personal plan, when the beginning of this year started, was stuff with Cha Cha. I got it told about it, and I was like, this is gonna be sick. This is gonna be fun. Very much wanted to lean into that full time, but during the circumstance and during what like was needed by other like promotions and wrestling, wasn't able to fully pursue that. Um, I would very much say tag team wrestling has helped me with timing wise and positioning, especially just because you got two more people in the ring now, or like two more people around the ring, etc. So I very much say tag team wrestling has helped me in that scenario. Uh, um, I like tag team wrestling a lot, and I'm really happy that I think especially like Paul Crockett says it a lot on commentary. Wrestling Open has probably the best tag team division right now, and I 100% agree with him. Like I can't dispute this fact. I think we have an incredible roster of tag team talent, and I feel like I've only scratched the surface when it comes to facing them. So I would definitely say that 2026, I want to really dive head deep into there. But I'm doing real successful, and I'm doing very good when it comes to single stuff. I've been killing it there. I've been going on winning streaks, like 10 match winning streaks on singles action. And then, so I'm more just going to see what the handyman's got laid out for me, what jobs I have coming up, and what it's going to take for me to continue to get to that next level and, maybe win a title.
Genius, brilliant. And that's, man, you BioPro guys, you're always so on spot because my next question was going to be, what are you looking forward in 2026? And you pretty much just answered that for me anyway. So,
I got some other little goals that I'll probably announce soon. I did a list. I think at the beginning of this year, that was like, here's what I want to do. It was like wrestle for a couple of promotions. I didn't get all of my goals accomplished, but I got some ideas of what I really want to accomplish.
see, and I mean, you've wrestled for a dozen or so this last year, right?
I would probably say, yeah, close to a dozen to 15. Like I said, I got to travel a lot more. Like I got to go, yeah, I've been doing a little more traveling, especially for CZW, which has been awesome. That's Pop in high school me, who was in the back of math class watching classic tournament of deaths and not doing work at school. Like that's high school me that was really into deathmatch wrestling. Was like, damn, I get to wrestle for CZW. This is awesome.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I saw that on your highlight reel recently and I was like, that's that one's really gotta be something to sink your teeth into, right? Because
100%.
that's once again no shade sent to any other wrestling promotion in the universe, but CCW is just like this other level in a certain way, right? And it's phenomenal. Once again, I can send some great stuff up to the Wrestling Open because who else in independent wrestling at this time has not one but two weekly shows? Um, Nobody. So Drew does amazing with what he does for sure.
100%.
So 2025 has seen you in a ton of different spots, openers, tags, wrestling with veterans like Drew Gulag and Anthony Green, but also picking up some like big wins and getting some of those holy moments, right? This kid's really good reactions from the crowd. Which match or moment from this year, with it almost the year being over, are you most proud of? And like, I guess I should pause with that one. Like, which is there a moment or a couple of matches from this particular year that you're really proud of?
So I actually, was right before I hopped on this podcast, was working on an Instagram post. It was going to be photos of my 10 favorite matches this year in no particular order. I would say there's two matches particularly this year that really inspired me. And one of them happened recently, which was against Alex Reynolds. Um, Alex Reynolds messaged Wrestling Open officials and was like, I want to wrestle Handyman. And the, the I had a lot of pressure going in that match on myself. I wasn't outside of pressure from other people, a lot of pressure on myself. And I was very happy with my performance there and very happy with what I felt like brought myself to a different level that we haven't really seen from me before. Um, Especially the Wrestling Open crowd hasn't really seen me like be that gritty, be that like throw everything at the wall yet. Um, and that match was very, very proud of that one. The other one, which was more of just like I asked for it and I kind of got to play around with it, and the payout and the way it was pulled off was perfect. It was me and Rex Wallace at Ross Rock Diner. Me and Drew were talking around about that show, and I was like, I'm wrestling Rex. Can we do like some kind of gimmick match? Because like I think this would be kind of fun, and I want to do more gimmick stuff. Like it's just fun, do gimmick matches. And we were like, oh, maybe we'll do a tables match, doors match, and then I was like, oh, we didn't get to do this on Ricky's birthday show because we were supposed to do a Symphony of Destruction match at Ricky's birthday show in March. I was like, oh, we didn't get to do this. Rex's gimmick is he's teaming with RJ. He's in a band. I was like, yo, Drew, if I get the instruments and like I'll figure out everything and Rex agrees to it, could we be able to do a Symphony of Destruction match? And Drew was like, yes. And I was like, all right, this got to be perfect. I went out, I was searching everywhere trying to find, like cheap instruments because I was also not working at the time, so I was on a not great budget, but like I was very happy with how that match turned out. Like everyone was like, that was insane. That was great. And it also got to showcase a side of me that I also hadn't got to show yet, which was yeah, I'm willing to just put my body on the line for this and do some crazy stuff. Like, hadn't got to showcase that yet in anywhere. And that match allowed me to do that and also allowed me to show that, like, I'm willing to do this kind of crazy stuff. I would say those two are easily, like, fighting back and forth. Every day I wake up, I'm like, damn, that Alex Reynolds match was really good. We're going to go, like, oh, me and Rex is awesome. I would say those two are probably the matches I'm the most proud of this year.
So, and that's wonderful, right? The fact that you had to really put your heart and soul into them, and they turned out so well for you. Like, so if a fan is just discovering for you for the first time, would those be the one or two matches you'd want to send them first to get a real feel for what Handyman is all about, or would you aim for something a little more traditional?
If you want to see, maybe not the Rex match, just because it's kind of more of a death match hardcore, and that's maybe not best thing for someone to see of me as the first thing, because that's not exactly what I do all the time.
Right,
I would say
right,
the Alex Reynolds match is obviously a great one. Me and Cha Cha versus my coaches TJ and Love Doug from BioPro in March. Definitely would say that match as well. And then I would say probably me and Ricky Smokes from Live Pro, I think would be like, hey, if you want to get introduced to this guy, here's these matches to watch about it.
right. And you really can't get better opponents than those three. Love Doug, TJC, Ricky Smoke. Those guys are just. I mean, obviously, better people have said better things about those guys. Um, Jesus Christ, the Silver Sniper, he brings it, right? He brings it, and he goes hard. I got to see him at a match in Focus Pro, and it was amazing because fans brought a Mike Tyson Silver Sniper, but he was in the Mike Tyson lisp. He has that like silver thing,
Yeah.
and I was so excited to get to be on the right side of the ring when he held up that side, and I got a really good video and posted it. I literally posted it during the match because I wanted to get it out there so quickly, and I knew exactly when he was in the back room because maybe 6 minutes after the match was over, he reposted it on Instagram, and I was so hyped. It was great. Um, but yeah, I mean, those are some Ricky Smokes. Come on, I already blew him up
Exactly.
for
Yeah.
sure. And then your tag partner, Cha Cha, man. You guys, I saw you guys on Thanksgiving, right? In that match, and you guys were going hardcore. Absolutely love what you guys do in the ring. My next question is, since starting wrestling, what's the one thing about yourself you've learned that surprised you?
I'd say this is probably a generic answer, but I would say probably how much I love it. Like I've always been a fan of wrestling. Like bought every single video game. I still have a massive wrestling figure collection that's needs its own room at this point. But like once I started doing it, that's all I think about. That's all I do. My family's like, it's just like, do you do anything else? Do you think about anything else? And I'm like, no, I don't. I would very much say I learned how much I really do just love every aspect of wrestling, the good parts and the bad.
There you go. Yeah, and I keep going back to this quote. People are gonna get sick and tired of this quote, but it always has relevance, so it's hard not to use it 16 more times. Once again, I had this wonderful conversation a couple of months ago with Chase Del Monte, and he talked about, wrestling, right? And he essentially said the idea that, like, when it comes down to it, for the uninitiated, right, for the people who are not wrestling fans, um, those particular people, um, no explanation for. Well, what Chase really said was that for wrestling fans, no no explanation is needed. But the ones who are not wrestling fans, no explanation will ever be good enough, right? So the idea is that, simply put, for the people who don't believe in it or understand it or love wrestling the way people like you and I do, no explanation will ever do. They're not gonna understand. It's just not gonna be a thing. I always end up having to say that just because someone says something similar. I'm like, damn it, Chase, you're just gonna get he's gonna be on repeat every day in this thing. Is there anything that's been harder than you expected about wrestling that fans probably don't see?
Scheduling, timing, trying to make everything fit together. I 100% that. That's yeah, easy answer.
Right? Because there's just so many logistics that go into it. Like, you know, last night you had to be down in Rhode Island, of course. I'm assuming we're going to see you at Christmas. Do you
I
have a match?
mean, I've already wrestled on Valentine's Day. I've wrestled on Thanksgiving. I've wrestled on Halloween.
Right.
I might as well get the last two big holidays.
There you go. Right. And those are some two of the, especially New Year's is obviously like the big show, right? The big,
New
big
Year's
show.
is going to be very fun.
It's going to be insane. How how do you handle feedback or criticism from your trainers, from the veterans, from the promoters while you're still finding your footing?
I actively look for criticism. Um, like every after every match, I'll immediately go to like Ricky or Drew or say it's CJ or a Doug or like maybe a Brad Halls or a BRG, etc. Whoever's around that I know is going to give me good feedback. And I'll immediately ask them for whatever. I'll keep notes underneath, like, because I've been keeping track of all my matches. I'll take notes underneath the match with, like, hey, what this person said, how I felt about it, etc. And I'm open to everything, like, when it comes to feedback wise. Um, I've never heard someone say feedback to me and just been like, oh, I'm just not going to do that. Literally from everything. Uh, yeah, I think that's probably the answer there.
Yeah, and that's a great answer. Being someone like myself, I'm a veteran. I was in the army, right? So my drill sergeants, my NCOs, they all believed in constructive criticism, right? And honestly, regardless of what you're in or what you're doing in life, constructive criticism is a necessity, right? If you're not physically capable of handling constructive criticism, it's almost impossible to grow. And all of all growth is done in is outside your comfort zone. So it's wonderful to hear that you're actually just like you're so open and you're taking notes. That's the other first person to tell me that they're actually actively like almost recording everything and taking those notes and taking it so serious, right? I applaud you for that because so many people in real life, regardless of their circumstances, are almost actively trying to run away from constructive criticism. So the fact that you're facing that thing head on and you seem nourished by it almost.
My apologies there. It
No worries, no
was like a
worries.
jump scare for me. There we go.
Yeah, so just to say it, you seem so open and ready to receive the constructive feedback, and it's commendable, right?
Yeah, no,
So many,
I got such a great like barrage of like people around me to help me and learn and just get better at every turn.
yeah, and I mean, with some of the names you have around you, it's no surprise that guys like you and Jack are doing so well so early on because you get so much time, in the ring and so much incredible feedback from great coaches and part-time coaches like TJC and Love Doug, right? Or I should say assistant coaches like those guys. It's no wonder why you guys are doing so great at such a early age, right?
Hmm.
So I've noticed this with some of the younger guys. Are you learning to kind of balance everything in your life between shows and work and
Yeah,
everything else?
yes, 100%. Definitely difficult. That, like I said, when the hardest part that you think people wouldn't expect is just balancing everything: family, work, gym, diet, wrestling, training, etc.
Is there anything you do to help yourself when you're getting overwhelmed with all that stuff?
Just like live in the moment. Definitely would say that's like the key that I've realized.
Yeah, that's oh to be young again. How old are you, man?
I'm 20.
You're 20? Jesus Christ. I feel like a dinosaur right now. I just turned 40, so my brain's just like, 20. Oh to be young again. You know, and I don't know if you saw the recent Chris Van Vliet with John Cena, but they actually talked about AJ Styles and how
Yes.
AJ Styles at his age is having to do a lot of pre match warm ups and stuff to try to keep the engine going at such a high level. And what I like to do is every once in a while plant a seed for you young guys to just be like, hey, just remember 20 years from now, 30 years from now, when you're an old man like me, you may need a little extra, right? And I put that out there into the world because be myself, I have the nonprofit to help people with their mental health, and um, it's never a bad thing to remind people that help is just around the corner if you need it. So, obviously, um, you tried DDP yoga?
Very good.
DDP very good, works for you. I like to do the shameless self promotion as always. So I happen to be like a part time events coordinator for two kava bars, one in Worcester, Massachusetts, which is actually just in the same parking lot as the White Eagle and a couple doors down from Electric Haze. Um, and there's one in Nashua, New Hampshire off Main Street. Um, the Worcester Kava Bar on occasion does have DDP yoga events, and they are free for professional wrestlers.
Oh,
So if you
really?
guys,
Okay.
yes, so if you guys do see that hookup, if you guys see me promoting those particular things, just let me know, and you can show up for free. So
I'll definitely be interested in that. I'll get back to you.
awesome. All right. Once again, shameless self promotion. For anybody else, it's $30. Sorry, bro, you got to pay. So what you know what excites you most about your future in wrestling right now?
Getting to mix it up and do stuff with new people. Still so many guys I haven't interacted with or wrestled or teamed with, etc. I would dare to say that like I gotta wrestle Ricky. I gotta wrestle Ricky. He's I'm coming. I'm coming for Ricky Chantage. Sooner or later, I'm gonna have to wrestle him. But like now that I'm out doing stuff with like CZW and other companies, and I'm traveling more, like I'm excited to see who's out there and get to work with those guys. But there's also, like I said, there's so many people in New England that I still haven't even touched for.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, right? It's a great set of goals because there are, I mean, you know, ha, and maybe I've missed it. Maybe I've missed the memo, and maybe shame on me. But something like Rad Pro, like something like Rad Pro or like wrestling with character where they like spice it up and give you something else besides being a handyman.
But
That could be,
here's the thing: at wrestling with character, I am just a handyman.
yeah. I don't know. Through my thought goes like, maybe trying to get something just to spice it up
I
where you're
I
not the
I,
handyman.
I got some ideas of how to spice it up, and we'll hopefully get there.
Hopefully see you in 2026. All
Yeah.
right. That's great. All right. We'll at least on my channel we'll keep an eye on that because I've been kind of trying to wrap my head around what would be the opposite blue collar handyman. Were you gonna be like a I lost the name for it. There was Chavo Guerrero when he pretended to be like a really rich golf caddy
Yeah.
guy and he blonde hair and with the white, you know what I mean? Like that's the opposite of a handyman in my opinion. Maybe not necessarily that, but my brain's just kind of wondered like, what would he be doing if he had to be like something else besides a handyman just to kind of get into that other role? So, I mean, obviously you do really great as the handyman, so I'm not trying to throw shade at that, but just my mindset when I've seen other people do stuff like Shannon Levangie, she was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago and I said this to her. I was like, listen, she's like as like she's like that Americana girl next door, like American Pie, 4th of July girl. So like to see her as Eyeless coming out as this like murderous killer doll ready to eat souls, it was like it's a completely
Yeah,
different
it's fun.
character.
It's different.
It's definitely, yeah, and she's loved it, and she's had to find a new part of herself that she didn't have before. So, just to kind of, so every once in a while, um, kind of step outside the box there. Um, so if another rookie was about to have their first match, what advice would you give them about nerves and self belief?
Hmm. I'm gonna say this. I don't think I've ever met. Actually, that's not true. I was gonna say the number of people who I've seen who their first match ever was good, very little. Say I Black Jack pulled it off. Um, but I would say that your first match isn't gonna be perfect. You're always gonna improve and get better.
One step at a time, right? One step at a time. First match, maybe rewatch it back and keep an eye on things, but realize no one's perfect. We're only human, all right?
Yeah.
As much as I'd rather be a RoboCop sometimes, all
You know,
right? um, what do you hope wrestling helps you grow into, not just as a performer, but as a person?
healthier, more motivated, like more drive. Um, yeah, I would say like push me to be the best version of myself that I can possibly be.
Woo! That's a beautiful answer, man. It's a beautiful answer, right? You just, especially with self criticism, so many people, they and it's not always in the most healthy ways when they do it. They say, "Oh well, I'm not AJ Styles today," and it's like,
Yeah,
listen, AJ Styles wasn't AJ Styles at 20, right? You're looking at a man who's had to work on that stuff for 30 plus years, so you can't just sit there and say, "I'm going to be AJ Styles tomorrow." But the idea that you're saying, "Hey, tomorrow I can be a little bit better and a little bit better and grow," that's a beautiful sentiment, right? So, for anyone who's listening, um, who's brand new to the wrestling industry and maybe they feel overwhelmed and maybe they don't have the great support structure that they would if they went to BioPro. what would you want to would you want them to know they're not alone in this business?
Yeah, 100%. Like the number of people that I've felt like are actively trying to. Actually, I'm gonna say this. I've never felt anyone in professional wrestling is doing anything for my worst interest. Never once have I felt that. We're all in this game together. We're all a bunch of. I'll say it. We're all a bunch of weirdos who like doing this, and it's a very weird thing to do. To fake fight and hurt yourself. Yeah, you're never gonna be truly alone in wrestling. There's always gonna be someone you can turn to.
See, and that's great because you know, man, I keep going back to this one. Chase Del Monte said we all started out as wrestling nerds, and we all just evolved into something else. And maybe you're a wrestling nerd that now has a podcast asking other wrestling nerds how much they love being a wrestler, but we're all in this together, right?
100%.
Is there mental any mental habits or mindsets that you're trying to build early so you don't burn out later on in your career?
I actually can't give you an answer there. I haven't thought about that yet.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, hey, I haven't got there just yet.
Yeah,
That's
not yet.
right. I mean, that's honestly that's the beauty of being young. To be quite frank with you, is there's time to worry about things, and then there's time where you don't have to worry about it. You're just, I'm not there. I'm not there yet. Maybe in 5 years you'll be like, all right, maybe I need to start. You know, maybe if you get a certain career going, and you got to make sure you got to be a little more balanced. The beauty of being young, guys. That's all I can tell you. I'm sure there's gonna be some old guy going, well, he should have been like, bro. He'll get there. He'll get there when he gets
Exactly.
there. Don't worry about it. And the wonderful thing is when you get to that point, your mentors and your coaches and your constituents can be like, you hit that wall, my friend. Welcome to the other side. Let me tell you a few things, right? So it sounds like when you get there, you'll be all right. You'll have somebody having your back. I would say, you know, when it comes to your in ring style, right? And I kind of just had to praise you a little bit, and I'm technically cheating when I do this, but I wanted to make sure I brought this up. You and I had an offline chat maybe about a week ago, and you brought up a couple of your favorite people, and you threw out Spike Dudley, right? Um, So like what and I got to ask this question, especially since are you still at 160 right now?
Yeah.
All right. So um what does like Spike Dudley mean to you?
You know, what a worker. Dude just put everything into it. You didn't care what happened. You didn't care what other people thought. He just like he put everything into it. Like legit. He just put everything into everything. Looked out like he's just fun. He's fun and he's easy to root behind or he's easy to and when he was kind of heel and like kind of being smarmy. Easy to hate. Just like a very underrated worker, 100%.
Yeah, super underrated. And I love that you brought that up because I wanted to bring it up too because like a lot of people don't remember when he was the heel and he was like the dawn of the Dudley family.
Yeah.
He was like, "You're gonna do what I," you know what I mean? He was like pushing people around and stuff because once again, it's almost the opposite of the character that they might have seen. A lot of his highlights are just him getting the shit kicked out of him, like throwing the choke slam over the top rope
Yep.
onto the floor. Like we could probably list a million spots in ECW where he was thrown or you know thrown into the crowd or thrown off something tall into the ground or any of those type of things. One of the reasons why I kind of wanted to make sure I brought that up is just because I feel like I mean you got the bulldog right, obviously, but like you have a lot of that energy right he brought all he was very explosive for a smaller guy. He was able to throw it all out there. So is it great to be compared to somebody like Spike Dudley?
Yeah, definitely. 100%. Like, like a lot of people remember Spike Dudley. Like I've heard non wrestling fans be like, oh yeah, there was like I remember this time like Undertaker choke slammed this little dude to the floor. I was like, damn, like Spike was memorable. So it's a great compliment.
Yeah, no, it's and it definitely it's very suiting. Did you go to the TNA show at the Songus when
Bound for Glory. Yes, yes, I
yeah,
was there actually.
awesome. Um, because Spike did his little
He
surprise
did.
appearance. He got a super large pop, and I was super excited to see him.
Spike
Um,
and New England local, so never say never.
right there you go. Super underrated, right? There is a laundry list of insanely underrated wrestlers in the history of this business. People that maybe they just didn't get a title, or maybe they just didn't
Saturday,
get
yeah.
the yeah. Is there any you know is there anybody for you that you feel is underrated? Obviously, besides Spike at this point, that maybe you want other people to go back and watch.
Tyson Kidd. Tyson Kidd's like the immediate answer I can think of. That dude ruled. Like I couldn't imagine what he would be doing now if like he didn't get hurt. Like it that makes me always be like, dude, hitting beat up shit right now. But Tyson Kidd's like the immediate answer.
Yeah, no, Tyson Kidd, that's one of those like almost like what if questions, because the unfortunate truth is, and for anybody who thinks otherwise, wrestling hurts,
Yes.
okay? And it is as real as it gets when it comes to the pain, okay? And shit happens. I mean, Joey Mercury, we could sit here all day and list a bunch of people. Look, ravishing Rick Rude, career-ending injuries. Sting had the buckle bomb, and that really ended his career. I mean, luckily he got to do things here, there, everywhere, especially like with the Darby Allin um, in AEW. But the unfortunate truth is, sometimes you get hurt, and sometimes you don't get to walk away from it. Stone Cold Steve Austin is one of my all-time favorites, and he had to end his career early because of the pile driver. Shawn Michaels is another one of my great favorites, and he had to retire for a whole like 8 years or whatever it was because he hurt his back really bad. So it's definitely something that is unsung and people just don't pay attention to.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, yeah, no, it's just crazy. So and I get one more question, then I think we should go ahead and wrap all this up. Once again, it's been great talking to you, man.
This has been awesome.
I think the setting is going to be sweet. It gives you some legitimacy.
A little technical difficulties when it comes to the setting.
Yeah, it's okay. That's the beauty of editing. We'll make sure to get rid of all the background noise for sure. It's going to be fine. But it does put the legitimacy on the handyman for sure, man. Um, So we've talked about your career so far. We've talked about all these wonderful things in 2026 that you're going to do. I like to make sure to give someone the platform. Is there anything? Um, Obviously, this is going to come out for anybody paying the money tomorrow, but for everybody else in January, is there anything that obviously tell people to go see you at the Wrestling Open. They can find you on your Instagram, um, Twitter, social media pages, right? Is there anything else that's coming upcoming that you want to like let people
Just
know about?
just come to Wrestling Open. Come to Beyond Wrestling. Come to Wrestling Open. That's where you're gonna see me. That's like it's the obvious answer I feel like, but yeah, no, that's where you're gonna find me.
Awesome. And so my final question is actually about the Wrestling Open, right? And I've been wanting to ask somebody from BioPro, this question, right? Because I was thinking about um, this kind of analogy. Now, to put it in the context, there are a lot of people who go and see like Marvel movies or DC movies, right? And a lot of those people may not even be comic book fans, or they might have seen every single Marvel movie but never read a comic book. And the analogy is very similar. So there's a lot of people who have seen the WWE or like AEW, but maybe they've never been to the Wrestling Open. Maybe they don't go to indie wrestling. And I feel like one of the kind of stigmas, so to speak, about jumping into wrestling, into independent wrestling, is actually very similar along the lines of like you know, movie nerds not knowing where to jump in with comic books. There's a huge stigma around the idea of I don't know where to start, right? And a lot of people almost get overwhelmed because I've been to I don't know how many shows over the past 6 months, 7 months with my daughter,
So I
and
think that's one thing I'm gonna say especially good about Wrestling Open is you don't need to know shit about us. You don't need to know anything. You can come in, you can sit down, and you're gonna have a great time. We honestly try to do our shows for people that don't know wrestling. We wanna attract, we wanna have those people come in. But we of course have all the stuff that will make it so that wrestling fans who do know, who do follow, want to stay. But that's honestly, in my opinion, what makes wrestling over so great is that we you don't need to know anything about us. You don't need to know who our guys are because we're gonna tell you. We're gonna tell you who the bad guy is. We're gonna tell you who the good guy is. We're gonna tell you who what's like going on. That's what I think Wrestling Open in particular does great.
there you go. And that's the honest to God answer I was hoping you would say. Maybe it's cheesy, maybe it's BS, but I've tried to invite friends to go to independent shows, and a lot of them are like, I don't know who the guys are, I don't know what the storyline is, blah 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 blah, and they kind of get lost in the shuffle. And honestly, I'm gonna repeat you here, but my honest answer is the same. If you're trying to jump into independent wrestling for the very first time and you're worried about where to start, Wrestling Open is the best place to start because you are going to see so many talented people who are from New England and beyond. Definitely, there's always people from all over coming in, um, and you are going to see some genuine talent that then you can go out and see at other places, right? You're going to see guys. You know on Christmas they're going to have Mortar, who's the chaotic wrestling champion, right? Um, I when I was there on Thanksgiving, there was Sean Vegan Keegan. You guys had Shannon Levangie. So you have netball folks. You have folks that once again, they're from all over New England. They come from other schools, not just BioPro. And you have your BioPro guys, and you guys are phenomenal. You guys are tearing it up twice a week. Let's be real. But once again, I do agree with you when you say that. I think it's wonderful for people if they're going to start with
Like I said, just come to Wrestling Open. Just come to Wrestling Open. Come to Beyond. It's the best decision you could make.
phenomenal. That is phenomenal. I love it. That is the best answer I could get, for sure. So I love it. Any last words for the people these days?
This was great. This was awesome. Very much enjoyed this. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah. So once again to everyone, um, we have to say thank you to the handyman for joining us today. This was a great conversation. I absolutely enjoyed it. I love the fact that you teed up on that last one so well because I honestly do feel like I've seen so many people go to a show for the first time and they're almost like nervous. It's like because they're worried that someone somewhere is gonna beat them up or put them down for being the new kid. So it's you heard it right here several times from the handyman himself. Go to Wrestling Open. You're there with they have open arms for you, and they will initiate you into the independent scene, my friends. All right, so from all of us here at the Hype Podcast, and also thank you so much. So thank you so much, Handyman, for being here today. Um, Folks, you guys have a nice day.